You do not belong here.
The words sliced through the first-class cabin like a knife, spoken by Marissa, the flight attendant who carried entitlement like perfume. Dr. Liana Cole, a composed black CEO in a tailored Navy suit, froze just enough to let the insult land, but not break her. She had boarded for a critical $500 million meeting, but the real test had started the moment Marissa strutted up, arms folded, eyes narrowed like she had been training for humiliation all her life. Across the aisle, a blonde woman in diamonds leaned back, smirking, whispering loud enough for half the cabin to hear, "I wonder why these monkeys never know their place." The words landed like cement in the silent air. Passengers shifted uncomfortably. Some gasped. Others glanced away, unsure where to look. Liana didn't flinch. She didn't argue. She didn't fold. Her calm presence radiated authority. Instead, she opened her phone and typed a single, quiet message to her assistant. "Pause the $500 million merger until I arrive." The irony, the quiet power, was palpable, but invisible to the toxic duo trying to shame her. Marissa's face twisted with fury, while the blonde woman's smirk faltered ever so slightly. The cabin held its breath. You're watching splendid tales, stories that cut deep, deliver karma, and show that dignity can be louder than hate. If this tension is gripping you, hit like and subscribe. Marissa's fury escalated, her arms now trembling slightly as she leaned closer to Liana, her voice sharp enough to cut through metal. "I'm giving you one last chance. Move to the back. Now." The words dripped with entitlement, a toxic cocktail of arrogance and superiority. Across the aisle, the blonde woman in diamonds laughed again, her high-pitched, cruel giggle echoing like broken glass. "First class isn't for everyone," she sneered, tapping her designer bag as if to punctuate the insult. Passengers squirmed in their seats. A child whispered to his mother, "Why are they being so mean?" But Liana ignored the whispers. She stayed still, her calm like a shield, her dignity like armor. She adjusted her pearl earrings, crossed her legs slowly, and simply typed another message to her assistant. "Pause the $500 million merger until I land." Marissa's nostrils flared, her voice now dripping with desperation. "Do you even understand the rules? I can make you leave." The blonde woman leaned closer, voice sweet but venomous. "Darling, you really think you belong here? Bless your heart." But Liana didn't move. She didn't rise to the bait. She let them rage, let them perform their cruel theater, all while passengers stared, discomfort and fascination mixing in the air. Every insult, every snicker, every jab they threw at her only set the stage for the storm that was already quietly boarding the plane. If this story has you on the edge of your seat, make sure to like and subscribe to Splendid Tales. The drama is just getting started. Mid-flight, the cabin hummed with the faint roar of engines, but tension crackled louder than any jet noise. Marissa strutted up and down the aisle, muttering under her breath, each step a stomp of frustration. Diamond Blondie leaned back, champagne glass in hand, smirking like the world had been handed to her on a golden tray. "Honestly," she whispered to no one in particular, "how do they let anyone like her into first class?" Liana opened her laptop quietly, her fingers gliding over the keys as if she were composing a symphony. Then she froze. The first page of her notes stared back at her with a name she could never forget: Stonewell Luxury Group. Her eyes flicked up across the aisle. The woman laughing, whispering cruel words, lounging in diamonds, was none other than Victoria Stonewell, owner of the very company relying on Liana's $500 million deal. Recognition didn't flash on Victoria's face yet. Her arrogance blinded her. But Liana didn't need it. She simply closed her laptop, rested her chin on her hand, and smiled just enough to hint at danger. Marissa misread the movement, scoffing. "Talking to yourself now?" she sneered. Blondie's metallic laugh sliced through the cabin again. "She's probably wondering which button flushes the toilet." Passengers shifted, sensing the tide turning, unsure what storm they were witnessing. Liana's calm was electric. Every insult, every snide remark, every racist jab they had thrown was already rebounding, quietly, like gravity pulling everything toward the inevitable. If you're loving the suspense, make sure to like and subscribe to Splendid Tales. The plane landed, but the real turbulence was waiting on the ground. Liana strode through the airport like a hurricane disguised in tailored navy, her heels clicking with quiet authority. Passengers whispered, heads turning, some snapping photos as Marissa, escorted by security, shuffled toward a small office. Her permanent scowl had twisted into a face of terror. Complaints had been filed, videos reviewed, and airline management had already decided suspension, mandatory diversity and sensitivity training, and a formal reprimand that would follow her career like a shadow. Humiliation, once petty and controlled, had finally found its match. Meanwhile, Victoria Stonewell waited in her sleek, glass-encased office, confidence still radiating, unaware that arrogance had just collided with reality. Liana entered, calm, composed, untouchable. Victoria froze. Recognition struck like lightning. The woman she had mocked on the plane, the one she called a monkey and laughed at, sat now at the head of the table, poised to decide whether Stonewell would receive $500 million. Dr. Cole, Victoria stammered, voice brittle, eyes wide, a fragile veil of superiority shattering. I didn't recognize you. Liana's lips curved into a small, sharp smile. But you recognized enough to judge. The boardroom went silent. Marissa's punishment had already been executed. Victoria's pride, however, was still on trial. The deal was paused pending review, egos flattened, and justice had arrived quietly, perfectly, and with surgical precision. Sometimes karma doesn't shout. It simply steps into the room where disrespect was born and lets consequences speak louder than arrogance ever could. If you love this story, like, comment, and subscribe to Splendid Tales for more tales where the wicked meet their match.